Robert Redford, born Charles. Robert Redford Jr., on August 18, 1936, in Santa Monica, California, grew up far from the polished image he would later project on screen. His childhood was shaped by modest means and strong parental influences that quietly molded his character. His mother, Martha Hart, worked as a freelance illustrator and commercial artist, nurturing his sensitivity to beauty, composition, and creative expression. His father, Charles Robert Redford Sr., a chemist and lab technician, provided structure, discipline, and balance. Growing up in Southern California, Redford absorbed both everyday working-class realities and the distant glow of Hollywood's promise. These contrasting worlds planted early seeds for storytelling, observation, and independence. Though fame was nowhere on his horizon, Redford developed an instinct to question authority, value craftsmanship, and remain grounded, qualities that would later define both his career choices and personal relationships. Education, restlessness, and the call of art. Redford's early education reflected a young man searching for direction rather than chasing stardom. At Van Nuys High School, he explored drama and creative expression, discovering the performance allowed him to communicate emotions he struggled to articulate otherwise. After graduating, he enrolled at the University of Colorado to study architecture, revealing a deep interest in structure, design, and visual thinking. Yet restlessness followed him, and academic life failed to satisfy his creative hunger. Eventually, Redford left college and committed fully to the arts, enrolling at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. There, he received disciplined training and guidance from mentors who recognized his quiet intensity. These formative years taught him humility and perseverance, reinforcing that talent alone was never enough. Craft, patience, and self-awareness became cornerstones of his professional philosophy. Rise to stardom and a defining partnership. Redford's early career unfolded gradually through television roles and small film appearances during the late 1950s and early 1960s. His breakthrough arrived in 1969 with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where he starred opposite Paul Newman. The film did more than launch Redford into superstardom. It introduced audiences to an extraordinary on-screen partnership built on contrast and chemistry. Redford's introspective coolness complemented Newman's effortless charm, creating a balance that felt natural and electric. The Sundance Kid became a cultural symbol, representing a new type of American hero, thoughtful, rebellious, and quietly confident. This collaboration shaped Redford's public image and artistic confidence, opening doors to more complex roles. More importantly, it marked the beginning of a friendship that would influence his career, worldview, and understanding of integrity in Hollywood, expanding range and artistic credibility. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Redford proved he was far more than a charismatic leading man. Films such as The Sting, All the President's Men, and Out of Africa demonstrated his ability to navigate vastly different genres while maintaining emotional authenticity. He gravitated towards stories that questioned power, morality, and human vulnerability, reflecting his growing social awareness. Audiences trusted him not only as a star, but as a storyteller with substance. Redford's performances grew more restrained and reflective, favoring nuance over spectacle. This evolution earned him critical respect and long-term relevance in an industry often driven by fleeting trends. His success during this period allowed him to take creative risks and eventually shift focus toward shaping stories behind the camera, where his influence would become even more profound. Champion of independent cinema, Redford's most lasting legacy may lie beyond his acting career. In 1980, he founded the Sundance Institute to support independent filmmakers who lacked access to mainstream platforms. What began as a modest initiative evolved into the Sundance Film Festival, now the world's premier showcase for independent cinema. Through Sundance, Redford championed creative freedom, diversity of voice, and storytelling outside commercial formulas. He believed cinema should challenge audiences, not simply entertain them. As a director, films like Ordinary People, A River Runs Through It, and Quiz Show reflected his thoughtful, restrained approach to storytelling. These projects emphasize character, moral complexity, and emotional honesty. Redford's commitment reshaped American cinema, ensuring that new generations of filmmakers could be heard, supported, and taken seriously within the industry. Personal life, love, and loss. Behind Redford's public success lay a deeply private personal life marked by love, tragedy, and resilience. He married Lola Van Wagenen in 1958, and together they raised 4 children while navigating the pressures of fame. The devastating loss of their first child, Scott, in infancy profoundly shaped Redford's emotional world, instilling a lifelong sense of tenderness and humility. Though the marriage eventually drifted apart, both Redford and Van Wagenen maintained discretion and mutual respect, choosing privacy over public explanation. Their children pursued creative paths of their own, reflecting the artistic environment in which they were raised. Later in life, Redford found companionship again with artist Sybil Sagars, marrying her in 2009. This partnership reflected maturity, shared values, and emotional stability rather than public spectacle. A friendship forged in respect. At 89, Robert Redford finally spoke openly about his relationship with Paul Newman, offering rare insight into one of Hollywood's most admired friendships. Redford described Newman as someone whose presence elevated everyone around him, not through ego but through kindness and humility. Their bond extended far beyond professional collaboration. It was built on trust, honesty, and mutual admiration. On set, they shared an unspoken understanding that allowed them to challenge each other creatively without rivalry. Redford emphasized that Newman never allowed fame to erode his humanity, remaining generous, principled, and deeply grounded. Their friendship thrived in an industry known for competition, proving that success did not require stepping on others. Instead, it could be shared, strengthened, and sustained through respect and genuine connection. Creative synergy and mutual growth. Redford reflected on how working with Newman sharpened his instincts as an actor and storyteller. Their collaborations were fueled by curiosity rather than ambition, with long conversations about character, motivation, and meaning. They pushed one another not for awards, but for authenticity. Redford recalled the ease of working alongside Newman, where humor and seriousness coexisted seamlessly. That balance made their performances resonate with audiences across generations. Off-camera, Newman offered quiet guidance without condescension, allowing Redford to grow independently. Their creative synergy became a benchmark for cinematic partnerships, demonstrating how collaboration could deepen artistry rather than dilute individuality. These shared experiences left an enduring mark on Redford's approach to filmmaking, reinforcing his belief that great work emerges from trust, patience, and shared purpose. Lessons beyond the screen. Perhaps most moving were Redford's reflections on the personal lessons Newman imparted. He described him not just as a friend, but as a brother whose influence extended into everyday life. Newman's commitment to philanthropy, humility, and family showed Redford that legacy was measured by impact, not accolades. Redford spoke with gratitude about the way Newman modeled integrity, reminding him that success carried responsibility. These lessons shaped Redford's later choices, particularly his dedication to independent artists and ethical storytelling. In speaking openly now, Redford framed their friendship as a gift rather than a memory, one that continued to guide his values. It was a bond rooted in shared humanity, not shared fame, and its influence remains deeply woven into Redford's life. A quiet reflection on legacy. As Robert Redford looks back at nearly 9 decades of life, his reflections on Paul Newman feel less like nostalgia and more like wisdom offered in gratitude. Their story is not simply about 2 stars who made great films together, but about how respect, humility, and friendship can endure in an unforgiving industry. Redford's words remind audiences that behind iconic performances are real relationships shaped by trust and compassion. By finally speaking openly, he offers a rare glimpse into the emotional truths behind cinematic history. It is a testament to enduring friendship, creative integrity, and the belief that the most meaningful legacies are built quietly through character, kindness, and the people who walk beside us along the way.